The moment my 7-year-old asked me if Grandma was going to buy Uncle Ryan another truck with her school money, something inside me stopped breathing. At first, I actually smiled. Not because it was funny, because my brain refused to understand what I had just heard. Lily was hugging my waist so tightly I could barely breathe, and she said it like she was asking about the weather. Soft, careful, like she had already been told she shouldn't ask. Daddy, if Grandma buys Uncle Ryan another truck with my school money, do I still get to go to dance next year? I looked down at her. She was serious, not confused, not joking, just serious. And that was the moment the whole lie started to crack. 7 years earlier, I had buried my wife. One minute she was holding our daughter and crying because Lily had my eyes. The next minute I was signing papers of hands that wouldn't stop shaking. You don't recover from that. People love to say time heals. It just teaches you how to stand while you're still bleeding. For the first year, I barely slept. I worked during the day, held Lily all night, and pretended I was okay for the sake of anyone looking at me too long. I was 27, terrified, and stupid enough to think love would be enough. Then the hospital settlement came. Not enough to bring Claire back. $280,000. It was supposed to be Lily's protection, her school. My mother stepped in right when I was drowning. She cooked. She cleaned. She held Lily when I couldn't stop shaking long enough to warm a bottle. And when I got offered a high-paying contract job out of state 2 years later, she sat me down at her kitchen table, touched my hand, and said the words that hooked straight into my guilt. Go build something solid for your daughter. Actually crying from relief, because I thought I was being given a second chance. She said the settlement money should go into an account she managed for Lily's needs because I was grieving, overworked, and too trusting to handle the paperwork right, and she was right about one thing. I was too trusting. I signed the papers, not adoption, not surrender. Medical consent forms. I kept working. I kept sending money on top of the settlement, and every time I started to worry, my mother had an answer ready. Private school costs more now. Therapy isn't cheap. Dance classes, tutors, a better neighborhood, childcare, summer programs. Do you know how hard it is to calm her down after you leave? So I swallowed every doubt because guilt is easy to weaponize against a good parent, especially one who already blames himself for everything. I worked 14-hour shifts. I missed birthday candles, school plays, bedtime stories, not because I didn't care, because I believed I was paying for something better than what I could give her then. Every FaceTime call was controlled. Every visit was scheduled around my mother. If I asked Lily about school, my mother answered for her. If Lily got too clingy when I visited, my mother said she needed less disruption, not more. And I hated myself enough to believe it. Over the years, my mother's life started looking better. Nicer car, kitchen renovation, a lake weekend here and there. A sudden taste for expensive jewelry she pretended was just something on sale. Ryan, my younger brother, stopped bouncing from disaster to disaster. He got a truck, then a fishing boat. Whenever I asked where the money was coming from, my mother would laugh and say, "Not everything is about you, Ethan. Some of us know how to manage our finances." I wanted to believe her, because the alternative was too ugly, so I kept choosing denial. Until Lily turned 7. That weekend I picked her up for her birthday. She looked smaller than I expected, not thin exactly. She hugged like a child who had learned affection could be taken away. On the drive to get ice cream, she stared out the window and held the stuffed rabbit I'd won her at a gas station claw machine 2 years earlier. Its left ear was hanging by a thread. I realized then she still had it because nobody had replaced it. Nobody, not the woman claiming private school tuition and dance fees and therapy bills for years. When we got to the ice cream place, Lily chose the smallest cup. Vanilla, no topping. That one word made me sick, really. Like generosity was a rare event. Like being allowed something was unusual. When we sat down, I asked her about dance. Her face changed. Not sadness, confusion. What dance? I smiled slowly. The dance classes Grandma said you loved. Lily blinked at me. What's academy? I heard Claire's voice in my head right then. I had explained everything away for years. I asked Lily what school she went to. She told me the name of the local public elementary 3 blocks from my mother's house. The same school that had free lunch applications. The same school my mother said she never let Lily attend because it wasn't good enough. My hand was shaking so hard the plastic cracked. I asked Lily what she meant about Uncle Ryan's truck, that it came from my money. My chest tightened. Why would she say that? Lily shrugged the way scared kids shrug when they know too much and understand too little. Because Uncle Ryan was mad. He said he wanted the black one, and Grandma said he should be grateful because she already used my school money on him once. I just stared at her. Kids always do that when adults go silent. She said it's okay because family shares. It was just a small place over a hardware store. Nothing fancy. But when she stepped inside, she looked around like she had entered some kind of dream. Her eyes landed on the bedroom I had spent weeks getting ready for her. Yellow curtains, a little bookshelf, glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. A desk with crayons lined up in a mason jar. She stood in the doorway and whispered, "Is this all mine?" Because I had given my mother hundreds of thousands of dollars, and somehow my daughter had never had one room that felt like hers. That night, while Lily took a bath and sang to herself so softly I could barely hear it, I called my mother. I kept my voice steady. I asked her why Lily wasn't in private school. Silence. Then the performance began. She sighed, acted wounded. Then she turned it around. She asked whether I had any idea what it cost emotionally to raise another woman's child. Another woman's child. I hung up before I said something I couldn't take back. "This is the one Grandma uses for my school stuff." I looked at it. "It doesn't work right." She nodded. "It does if you press the little heart." I took the tablet and pressed the photo app by accident. A beach video opened. Ryan was behind her holding a drink and yelling, "Tell Ethan thanks for Saibio." My whole body went still. I looked at Lily. She was half asleep, rubbing one eye. "Why do you have this?" Grandma said I could watch cartoons on it, but then she got mad because it shows the trips. Resort confirmations, boat payments, jewelry receipts. Subject line, permanent custody after next transfer. I stopped breathing again. Lily Care Trust. Balance, $312.84. And underneath it, transfer after transfer after transfer. Dealership, contractor, Ryan Cole Auto, Saibio Athol Resort, a boutique spa, and one memo that made my blood run cold. I looked over at my daughter sleeping in my bed like it was the first safe sleep she'd had in years. And I realized 2 things at the exact same time. She'd been planning to steal my daughter completely. I did not sleep that night. I made copies. Photos, emails, bank transfers, receipts. Then I made more copies. Because once you realize the person who raised you can smile in your face while building a cage around your child, paranoia stops feeling unhealthy. It starts feeling responsible. At 6 in the morning, I called in sick for the first time in 3 years. At 7, I called a family attorney named Marissa Hawley. At 8:30, I sat in her office with a tablet full of proof and a daughter coloring quietly beside me. A loud accusation. A messy fight. A chance to paint me as unstable. She had spent years building that story. The grieving husband. The absent father. The man who worked too much and showed up too little. She wanted me emotional, so I gave her calm. That probably scared her more. Marissa moved fast. By noon, she had filed for emergency custody review. A quiet man with tired eyes and the kind of patience that only shows up after years of cleaning up other people's greed. Ben went through the tablet like a surgeon. He found hidden folders, deleted emails, a cloud backup my mother thought she had turned off. And once he traced the account history, the whole ugly picture came into focus. The $280,000 had not disappeared all at once. That would have been too obvious. My mother bled it slowly. 5,000 here, 12,000 there. A tuition transfer that never went to a school. a therapy payment to a clinic that had no record of Lily ever being a patient, a home modification for child stability that was actually her kitchen remodel, $22,000 to help Ryan launch his business, $9,000 for his legal fees after a DUI, $15,000 down on the truck, $7,000 for a lake cabin rental package that somehow became permanent when she used more of Lily's money as a down payment. Every lie had a soft meme. Every theft was dressed up like care. Then Ben found the part that made Marissa lean back in her chair and swear under her breath. My mother had been paying herself a monthly caregiver fee from Lily's trust, not a small one, a huge one, as if she had been hired by a stranger, as if raising her own granddaughter had been some noble full-time service she deserved to bill. I should have been shocked. Instead, I just felt stupid. Stupid for every excuse I made, every gut feeling I buried, every time Lily hesitated around me and I called it shyness instead of fear. Marissa started pulling official records. School, medical, dental, therapy. Everything my mother claimed Lily had been getting. The truth was worse than I expected. There had been no therapy in over 2 years. Her last dental cleaning was almost 18 months ago. She had missed 2 pediatric appointments. The school had sent home lunch balance notices my mother never mentioned. In the advanced academic program, my mother bragged about online was just a regular after-school reading circle that cost almost nothing. I kept thinking the file would hit bottom. It didn't. It just kept getting uglier. Then came the home visit photos. Marissa requested them through a rushed investigator who spoke with one of Lily's teachers after I explained the situation. Lily often arrived tired, sometimes hungry, always anxious when school called home. The investigator went to my mother's house under a welfare follow-up pretext. The bedroom my mother showed on FaceTime was pristine. 2 pristine, pink duvet, white furniture, stuffed animals lined up like a furniture store display. No wrinkled sheets. No school papers, no socks on the floor. No child lived in that room. And after enough pressure, the investigator found where Lily really slept. A narrow converted storage space off the laundry room. A twin mattress, no window, a plastic drawer set. Narrow converted storage set. A nightlight plugged in next to detergent and a water heater. I stared at the photo so long my vision blurred. That was the room my daughter slept in while my mother posted quotes online about sacrifice and family values. That was the room Lily came from every morning while I thought I was paying for safety. I cried that night in the bathroom with the shower running because I couldn't let Lily hear me. Then she knocked softly on the door and said, "Daddy, did I do something bad?" That sentence broke something in me. I opened the door and dropped to my knees so fast it hurt. "No, baby. No, you did nothing bad." She looked at me with those old, careful eyes. "Grandma says people get mad when I tell stories wrong." I held her face in my hands. "You told the truth. And the truth is never wrong." She started crying then. Not loud, just those tiny silent tears kids cry when they've been holding everything in too long. She told me Grandma said I was too unstable to raise her, that I'd leave if life got hard, that the money was family money now, that I owed Grandma for all the years she saved Lily from me. I listened, and every word sharpened my focus. This was not just theft. This was grooming, not the kind people always talk about. The quieter kind. The kind where a child is trained to distrust the person who loves them most. Marissa said we had enough for court. I said court wasn't enough. I wanted consequences. Real ones, not just a judge telling my mother she had crossed a line she had been dancing over for years. So we built something tighter, smarter. Ben traced a pending transfer request. My mother was trying to move the last major asset tied to Lily's money by selling the lake cabin stake and rerouting the proceeds through Ryan's business account. I called her the next day. Put the phone on speaker. Let Marissa record every second. I sounded tired, defeated. I even apologized. That part tasted like acid. I told her I had overreacted. I told her I was scared because work was slowing down and I might need help again. Then I said the magic words. "I've got one more bonus coming." I want to put it toward Lily's future, but I need to understand the paperwork this time. My mother took the bait so fast it was almost insulting. Her voice softened. She became warm again, patient, motherly. She said she knew I'd come to my senses. She said she would bring all the documents to Sunday dinner so we could clear the air as a family. Sunday dinner, that was perfect. Because Diane Cole loved two things more than money: control and an audience. Marissa already had the emergency custody order ready. Ben already had the forensic summary organized. And I already knew Ryan was coming, which mattered because I wanted him to hear every lie directly from her mouth. Sunday night, I walked into my mother's dining room with Lily's hand in mine and peace so cold it scared even me. The whole family was there, Ryan with his usual smug grin, my Aunt Teresa, two cousins. My mother in a cream sweater, smiling like a saint painted for church glass. There was roast chicken on the table, candles lit, paperwork neatly stacked at her place setting like she was hosting a business seminar instead of the collapse of her own mask. She kissed Lily's head. Lily flinched. Only slightly, but I saw it. And so did Marissa, standing just inside the doorway a moment later with a leather folder in her arms. My mother's smile twitched. What is this? I sat down. Calm. You wanted to clear the air. Ryan laughed. Seriously, Ethan? You brought a lawyer to dinner? No, I said. I brought one because you people confuse dinner with theft. Silence. My mother straightened. That fake softness vanished from her face so fast it was almost impressive. She asked Marissa to leave. Marissa handed me the emergency custody order instead. I placed it on the table. Then I placed the printed bank transfers beside it. Then the photos. CBO. The truck. The lake cabin. The kitchen remodel. Ryan's business payments, the fake bedroom. The real laundry room mattress. Nobody spoke for a full 10 seconds. Ryan picked up one of the pages and frowned. What the hell is this? My mother snapped. Put that down. He didn't. He turned another page. His face changed. This truck payment. Diane, you said this came from Dad's old retirement account. My mother looked at him like she wanted him dead. I almost admired how quickly she recalculated. Then she did what liars do when the room turns. She chose survival over everyone. I used what I had to use, she said flatly. I was the one doing the work. Aunt Teresa covered her mouth. Ryan looked sick. I leaned forward. You told me Lily was in private school. She wasn't. My mother said nothing. You told me she was in therapy. She wasn't. Still nothing. You told me that money was for my daughter's stability while she slept next to a water heater. That was the line that cracked the room open. My aunt started crying. Ryan threw the truck receipt back on the table like it burned him. And my mother, finally cornered, said the quiet part out loud. I deserve that money. Nobody moved. She kept going. That's the thing about people like her. Once they start telling the truth, it spills ugly. I gave up years of my life for that child while you played hero out of state. I cleaned up your mess. I kept that girl fed, clothed, in school, and if I used some of the money, it was because I earned it. Some. I actually laughed then. Not because it was funny. Because evil sounds ridiculous when it stops dressing itself in concern. Lily squeezed my hands so hard her nails pressed into my skin. I stood, slowly. This is the last time you will ever call my daughter a burden you earned payment for. Then I nodded to Marissa. She stepped forward and explained the emergency order. Temporary guardianship revoked. No unsupervised contact. Financial fraud filing in motion. Asset freeze request pending. Ryan just stared at my mother. You used a little girl's dead mother money on me? My mother whispered. I did what this family needed. And there it was. No apology. No shame. Just entitlement with lipstick on it. 2 investigators came 10 minutes later. Not dramatic. Not loud. Just paperwork, signatures, and the kind of silence that follows when a whole family realizes the person they trusted most has been rehearsing innocence for years. My mother didn't cry until they asked for access to the house office and financial records. Then she looked at me and said, "After everything I did for you." That sentence used to work on me, used to split me open. This time it landed like dust. I looked at her and said, "You didn't do it for me. You did it to us." Then I walked out with my daughter. The court hearing 3 weeks later finished what Sunday started. The judge was not gentle. The records were too clean. The pattern too obvious. The manipulation too documented. My mother was ordered to account for every missing dollar. The cabin share was seized. The SUV went. Ryan sold the truck and paid back what he could after learning his business launch had been built on Lily's money. He cried when he apologized to me. I believed he felt guilty. I did not believe guilt made him innocent. That was a lesson I had learned too late. As for my mother, the criminal case moved slower than I wanted. Justice usually does. But the civil judgment hit first and hard. Public records don't care how polished your smile is. Church friends stopped calling. The women she used to impress with fake stories stopped inviting her anywhere. Her little empire of reputation collapsed under the weight of receipts. And somehow that part hurt her more than the court ever did. But the real revenge wasn't the money. It wasn't the truck. It wasn't watching her explain to strangers why a 7-year-old's trust paid for beach resorts and granite countertops. The real revenge was this. Lily stopped whispering. Not all at once. Healing never works like that. But little by little, she stopped asking permission for every small thing. She started choosing bigger ice cream, louder music, brighter crayons. She started sleeping through the night. She stopped folding her clothes into neat little stacks like she was afraid of taking up space. One evening, about 2 months after the hearing, I found her in her room sitting under the glow-in-the-dark stars, drawing our family. It was just me and her, no grandma, no Uncle Ryan, no shadows in the corner. She looked up and asked, "Daddy?" "Yeah." "Bug, was Grandma always bad?" I sat beside her for a long time before answering, because that question wasn't about my mother. It was about whether Lily's world had ever been safe. "No," I said quietly. "But she made choices that hurt us. And when people keep choosing to hurt you, loving who they used to be can't be more important than protecting who you are." Lily thought about that. Then she leaned against me. "I like it here better." I kissed the top of her head. "Me too. We got some of the money back. Not all of it. Maybe we never will. You can recover dollars. You can't invoice a child for lost trust. You can't refund years of being made to feel expensive. But every morning Lily runs down the hallway now like she belongs in this world. And every time I hear her laugh without checking who's listening first, I know my mother lost the only thing she ever truly wanted: control. A week after the last hearing, a certified letter arrived from a bank I didn't recognize. Inside was a notice about a safe deposit box under my mother's name. A second name was listed beneath it, Lily's. And when I looked up from the paper, my daughter was standing in the doorway holding that cracked pink tablet. She stared at the envelope, then at me, and said the words that made my stomach turn all over again. "Daddy, I think that's where Grandma kept the papers she was really scared of. If you want, I can turn this into a more cinematic YouTube-ready version with stronger retention beats, viral-style cliffhangers, and thumbnail title options."